Good morning. So it is 11 o'clock, so we are going to get started. This session is recorded, so you'll be sent a copy of it following today's presentation, likely tomorrow. So today we are talking about Reddit, and I love Reddit, and I have loved Reddit for years and years. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. I've got my team member on here, Vish. She's tuning in from India right now, and I miss her dearly in the office, but I still get to see her virtually from time to time. All right. So Pat is saying no sound, but I think, Vish, you can hear me? Pat, it might be a you problem. Can everyone else hear me okay? Okay, so Melinda in Texas can hear me. Michael can hear. Okay. So Pat, you may want to turn up your speakers maybe. Okay. All right, let's get into it. So what I'd love to know, because today with Reddit as a social channel, I want to get to know you and I want to get to know your business. So where are you located? If you can put this in the chat, like a city, it could be a province, a state, put it in the chat. And then what is your business or what is your business type? Now, most of the people on here I do know, so that's a good thing. But if you want to throw it in the chat, then I can use some of these in examples. Melinda, I knew. Texas, yes, I knew. Flame, Kingston, Ontario, yes. Perfect. Pat, travel advisor, no experience with Reddit. That's okay. This is definitely an introduction. This is very new to what this is. Michael from Matches Seeds in Pembroke and Chapeau. That makes sense. I'm used to saying Chapleau, which is like middle, like near Wawa, but it's different. And Martha in Ottawa, owner of Organizing and Decluttering. Okay, perfect. Great. So I think that's everyone on the call. We are expecting around, I think, another 20 people or so, and they'll just pop on when they get here. Okay. So hat in French. I know what it is, Michael, hat in French. I know chapeau, but Chapleau is also a town in Northern Ontario, which people think I'm saying chapeau, but it's Chapleau. Anyways, I've been there. I've been to both. Okay. So without further ado, my name is Jennifer Baker. Some of you already know me and have attended many of my webinars before. So I'm the CEO and owner of JBC Pushing Digital Boundaries out of Kingston, Ontario. My team member Vish is a digital marketing manager. And we provide assistance in many things digital. So Google Ads, Meta Ads. I do a lot of training and support, and Vish and our other team does a lot of content creation, scheduling, and managing of content. So with many of my sessions, you are welcome to ask lots of questions in the chat. Try to keep them on topic. So by on topic, I mean keep it about Reddit. If you have other questions, comments, concerns related to other social media, we will have a Q&A period at the end. So you're welcome to ask those then. But today we are going to be talking about an introduction to Reddit. So many of you are here because maybe you've heard about Reddit. Maybe friends or colleagues use it or they've mentioned it. And you're like, well, what is it? We'll get into it. So we'll talk about navigating Reddit's interface, understanding what subreddits are, and then businesses. So I understand many of you are business owners. We've got some in local government, but how you can utilize Reddit. All right, we good? We good to rock and roll today? So Pat has already told me that Pat is new to Reddit. Has anyone logged on to Reddit or taken a look at it or downloaded the app before today's session? Or is everybody here just brand new? So Martha's looked, Melinda's taken a peek, Michael's a thumbs up. Thank you. Okay, so maybe a little bit. Maybe we're kind of like just looking. Okay, so it is one of my favorite places. So at the very basic levels, Reddit's a social media platform, generally where people post content and other people respond to that content. The beauty of Reddit is there's lots of communities And these communities are called subreddits. So they can be locations, they can be topics. And the key to Reddit is finding where you fit and finding the pieces that make sense for you and your business, your town, your township, and where you can add value. So the screenshot that you see here, this is just one from my device. I took a screenshot of Reddit. This is the general look of Reddit. So a lot of people find this fairly chaotic. So starting at the top, you can see Kingston, Ontario. So I am part of the Kingston, Ontario Reddit because that's where I'm located. Underneath that, those are all the recent posts. So somebody's asking about writing a driver's test. There's Indigenous Canada celebration event. Someone is looking for an inmate in the correction system. And then someone else is looking for cell phone deals. So how this is slightly different than Facebook. How many people have used a Facebook group before? So community, neighborhood, they've sold something, whatever. Yeah. Okay. So most of us are familiar with that. So it's every day. So it's somewhat similar to that. But the difference is a lot of this is anonymous. So while Facebook groups, you can post anonymously, this somewhat is anonymous. Some people use their real names, but many people don't. So we can see this first comment here, Zealous Ideal Cup 2352. That's their username. You can go through and see other things they've commented on, other posts that they've created, unless they explicitly say, hide my content. Yes, Michael, it is more organized than X or Twitter. Don't even get me started on that. Vish and I were talking about this earlier. Vish wants to write a blog about X and Twitter. So you can private message her in the chat if you want to give her some ideas for that. So where Reddit starts to change or be different from Facebook is users can upvote or downvote comments and posts. And generally they look like this. Mods or moderators can change this, but oftentimes it looks like this. There's just a little up arrow or a down arrow. So if you agree with something or you think it's funny, you think it's valuable, you can always upvote something. If you find that something's not valuable or it's spammy, you can always downvote it. And what that allows users to do and what that does to all the posts and content is it will shift the importance of it. So if we go back here, so we can go back here and see, okay, this Indigenous Canada celebration got 21 upvotes. So that's going to be ranked higher than perhaps this individual looking to write a driving test. So people find this content more valuable than that content. Okay. The platform is known, so Reddit is known for the diversity in the discussions. So it can be everything from your local community. So we were looking at Kingston, Ontario, to things that you're personally interested in. So I like to hike. So I follow a subreddit called Algonquin Park. So it's a big provincial park in Ontario for Melinda, who's in Texas, similar to a national park-ish. So in here, we can see all the conversations related to Algonquin Park happening right now. So in here, I can see, okay, 20 hours ago, 1 day ago, 1 day ago. So I can see what the important conversations are in here. So to answer Martha's question, ranked higher, I'll get to that in a minute. So there's kind of another subreddit in there. So who is Reddit for? For me, I would say anybody. Anybody can use Reddit, but generally people who want to engage with online conversations, who want to see what's happening in certain areas, in certain niche topics. There's the people who want to share knowledge. So maybe they're an expert in mathematics. You can follow so many subreddits about math and solving problems. There can be people seeking advice. So just like we saw, somebody's looking for information about a driver's test. Oftentimes we see a lot of Reddit threads about what to do in a certain area, suggestions for restaurants, mechanics. And people are seeking out honest reviews about businesses and services in specific geographic areas. And sometimes people can get into either very casual conversations or just in-depth conversations, depending on how you choose to use the platform. So it's up to you how you use it, but you can certainly use it for either short form, casual, or more long form, in-depth conversations. So can businesses use Reddit? So, I see all of our businesses here. Yes, you can, but it's more thoughtful. And it's less about saying, come to my travel agency because I'm the best. It's not about that. As soon as you do something like that, so if our friend Pat hopped onto Reddit and said, come use my travel agency because I'm the best, I have a great deal to send you to, the Caribbean this winter, people would downvote her and say, no, this is not the culture that we want. We don't want, this type of information here. So now you're thinking, well, what do I do? Like, how do I engage in something like this? So where Pat could actually use Reddit is when people ask, have you used a travel agency? Who's good? Pat could always jump on and say, hey, I offer, this service. I'm happy to support, here's my phone number. So engaging when people are asking that question. Or if somebody says, I'm looking for a trip down south, I'm planning a wedding on an island. What do I do? How do I do this? If Pat has expertise in that, Pat might jump on and say, I've got a great plan. This is what we do, give me a call. So it's jumping into the conversations that already exist and solving problems that people have, which is sometimes a little bit, people think it might be a little bit backwards, but rather than being very forceful with your message, you're simply responding to a need that somebody has presented. Okay, does that make sense? Vish is nodding, but Vish nods to most things that I say. Yes, Martha says yes. Thank you. Pat says yes. Because I'm using you, Pat. You're my example for this. Melinda says yes. And Melinda, like, local government can go off the rails in Reddit. So just Ron says yes. Okay. So kind of to reiterate that topic, businesses need to be careful not to be spammy. So for Martha to say, hey, Ottawa, I offer this service, give me a call or send me an email, people are going to downvote. They don't want to see that. We want to rely on what our customers have to say. They want to see those recommendations. And this is something that I do just as a Reddit user for all of my clients. If they're asking for, I think someone was asking about coffee delivery. I think that was one of them in Kingston. So I work with North Roast Coffee in Kingston, and they do great coffee. It's yummy. Y'all should buy some. But somebody said, where should I get coffee? And I popped in just as me as a user, not my agency, not my organization. And I said, North Roast is great. They have all of these, blends. They offer delivery for $1. And when I was speaking with the owner, kind of shortly after that, and I don't necessarily even think about telling him this, but he's like, we got a lot of hits from Reddit in the last month. Like, where did that come from? Like, we got, I think it was like 25 or 30 click-throughs. And I'm like, oh, I made a post because somebody was asking about coffee. And that's part of that conversation. So how can you help and contribute to a conversation about a local business or a service? So let's get into a little bit of the language of Reddit. And I'm going to bring over some examples. I'm going to slide over my screen. And the one thing I'll mention is I prefer to use Reddit on my device, so on my mobile phone, as opposed to how I see it on a web, a big screen. So it's going to look slightly different if you've browsed Reddit on a mobile device versus your computer. So that's just a FYI, it looks slightly different. So don't be kind of alarmed if it's very different. Okay, so let's talk about some language here. So subreddits. So subreddits are those niche communities around those specific topics. So you'll see the subreddits that I follow, and you might judge me on them, but that's okay. So once you get into the subreddit, so for me, I found the Kingston, Ontario. It gives a brief description about what the subreddit is for, how many members it has, how many people are currently online, and then any rules that it has related to that subreddit. So make yourself aware of the rules as you're joining subreddits, because they're all slightly different. Similar to what you would see with a Facebook group. We've all kind of seen the rules. We've seen all the moderators do their things, but just make yourself aware. So let's pull over my screen here. Can we all see this? Can we all see this? We're good. Okay. All right. We see a Red Lobster ad. So yes, you can buy ads. That's separate. So this is my Reddit thread, or sorry, my Reddit feed. All of my communities or my subreddits are down here. So I have everything. So here, you want to know about Jennifer here? So for those of you who actually work with me or maybe barely know me, you can judge me hard. It's okay. So these are the communities that I'm a part of. So I love abandoned things. So show me an abandoned house. It is fantastic. I want to know all the old things and all the weird things happening. There's things about my local community with Kingston, Ontario. I love Northern Ontario, so I follow what's happening there. I love birds, so then I follow birds. I went to this university, so you can follow really anything that's of interest to you. In here, I've also got subreddits related to clients. So I don't live in Denver, but I have clients there. So I want to keep up with what's happening in that space, the area. So I follow all of these subreddits just to be made aware of what's happening. So when you're searching for subreddits, and Martha is in Ottawa, so what you can do, and you're going to see the not safe for work. There is a lot of not safe for work in here, so we're not talking about that today. You can discover that on your own. I'm not here for that. So the top 3 here is Ottawa. So there's 320,000 members. What about the horse community? There are the Ottawa Senators. Excuse me. And then there's Ottawa Food. So let's just take a peek. Ottawa. So I'm going to click on this. Please, no judgment. I don't know what's going to come up here. Okay. So Michael's going to judge. Great. I don't control the Ottawa Reddit thread here. So here we've got our hot posts. So we can sort by, and you can choose how you sort and get that content. You have to sort through the chunk. So we have hot, new, top, and rising. So Martha asked earlier, what is the benefit of getting those upvotes? It's you can start falling into the categories of hot, meaning popular, rising, meaning becoming popular, or top, you are popular. Or you can just do new. I prefer chronologically what's happening. So in here, generally what we're going to see, sorry, I just want to pause this because it's distracting. What you're going to see is one post, and then you're going to see an ad, and then you'll see the rest of the content underneath. So it follows a similar flow when you're on your device as well. So we can see here, this individual is upset about OC Transpo. I'm sure if you've ever lived in Ottawa in the last couple of years, this is a major thorn. This comes up a lot on the thread. But this is the type of conversation that we have. So our one local government individual who's here from Texas, this is what you can see in your own threaded if you've got community concerns. This is very unfiltered content. So this individual, I'm not going to click into it, but we can just see here, she is upset with the transportation system. Sometimes it's just pictures of what's happening in a construction site. Okay. And then this is the person here. You look cold. We'll talk about the other bits in a minute. We're looking, you're a restaurant in Ottawa. Do you have the best macaroni salad? Maybe, maybe not. And these are the conversations that you're looking for. You know, if you are a restaurant, and I don't believe we have any restaurant individuals on this call, but if you have a really great macaroni salad, maybe put it in here. Okay. So this is where those conversations happen. These are people providing in very honest opinions about what they think is best. And then you've always got this person, and I kind of live for this person in yellow. They're waiting to see someone chime in with KFC. So I personally find that very funny. I find that amusing, but generally you're going to find very honest conversations and suggestions. Okay. So that is Ottawa. So let's, we had Tanya ask about horses. So let's, okay. Let's don't, oh, Reddit. So we've got horses, we've got horse. We have horses being horses. We have horses aren't real, horses with jobs. Let's just do horses. Let's just see what's happening. So Reddit's biggest community for everything about horses. So this is a subreddit just on horses. And again, as I mentioned earlier, on the right-hand side, you can see what their rules are, you know, guidelines, ethics, so on and so forth. And you'll see in a lot of them, there's no self-promotion, no surveys, no sales. Okay. So that's where you're going to jump in with your conversation. How can Tanya add value to this little guy? You know, best day ever. Like, how could you contribute to that? So Melinda asked, you only see that information once you ask to join the group. No, this is all public. I don't follow horses. It's not my thing. But I could click to join, but you can still see everything. By joining it, you're basically subscribing to that feed, and it will show up in your main Reddit feed. Okay. So Michael, so your seeds, what kind of seeds do you do? Like, is it like vegetable, flower? Because then I can give you a vegetable. Can I go gardening? Can I go like very broad? Gardening Ontario, Garden Ontario. Veggies and flowers. Okay. So I went through a couple iterations. So our friend Michael sells seeds, veggies, and flowers. Oh, you manage a gardening Reddit. Interesting. Okay. So here I just put in a couple keywords. I put Garden Ontario, and now we've got Gardening Ontario. We've got Ontario gardeners. So maybe this is where Michael wants to spend a little bit of his time, because I imagine what's going to happen in this thread is people asking questions about seeds, bulbs, where to buy, how to fix, why aren't they growing, and so on. And that's where Michael could use his expertise to say, you know, the saffron crocus, is it too late for them? So Michael might be like, no, it's not too late because it's actually been quite warm. Da, 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 da. And yes, it doesn't maybe tie directly into selling a seed, but you're adding that value to this person. Okay. So Tanya asked, is saying we provide a service that is asked about considered self-promotion? Self-promotion would be more, I would put it in, So if we're on the gardening thread right now and Michael wants to talk about his seeds, it would be create a post and Michael says, we sell seeds by, all these pink flowers, plant them today. That would very much be self-promotion. But if somebody came on here and said, I'm looking for somebody who sells local seeds for pink flowers, Michael could say, yeah, that's what we do. Like, here's a web link. All right. So do we have the idea of what a subreddit is? Kind of got the idea. I want to see if there's one for Louisville. You can tell me, okay, Melinda, don't go to this one. But you can pick off the subreddit that makes sense for you. Okay. Yep, that's the idea, Michael. So moderators or mods. So all of these subreddits are moderated by basically volunteers. They're not paid for this. And the goal is to maintain what the whole subreddit is about. So they have the ability to remove posts, ban users, and manage any of your content. So oftentimes you'll see, if we go all the way to the bottom, let me just pause this again. Right down here in kind of the bottom, there's 3 mods. So you always know kind of who's moderating the content in here. So this person is the moderator. You can get a little bit of information about them. So they moderate these. So they're a gardener, they like animals, and they like Seinfeld, I'm guessing. You can chat with them at any point if you've got any concerns. But they're all volunteers. So it's not like they're being paid to do what they need to do. So Melinda's saying, is the moderator the one who sets up the subreddit? Not necessarily. They definitely can be, but you can also, perhaps Melinda, you want to be in a Texas subreddit. You can certainly say, I'd like to be a moderator, and you can connect with the mods. So provided you check their boxes, you can certainly, I don't want to say apply, it makes it sound a little bit more formal than it is. But you can certainly reach out and say, I'd like to moderate this community as well. So you don't necessarily have to be the one to start it. Oftentimes you'll see in subreddits, people just want to kind of pass over the torch and say, okay, I'm done doing this. We need another moderator. So sometimes they do an outreach that says, hey, who wants to help out with this? Or we need another person to assist with this. Oh, Martha. Yeah, it does sound like Facebook groups. It's similar. I'd say there's less drama here than a Facebook group. All right, so Martha is asking about don't click on certain ones. So I'm just gonna, Martha, the not safe for work 18 plus, that's adult content. So you can go there if you want, but I'm not going there as part of this. So not safe for work, NSFW. So that's just a, okay, so your posts. And I was going through and I was finding some things that provide that feedback. So your posts, they allow users to submit content in the form of text, links, images, videos. So we have seen a combination of these already. So some of them are simply text only. Some of them have photos. We don't often see a ton of videos, depending on the Reddit feed that you're on. And then these can be upvoted or downvoted. So this is one that came up recently in the Kingston Reddit. It's a really great example of why you want to be listening to your local Reddits. So this person asked, does Kingston have a shop that sells scale model kits of ships and airlines? Like, they're just curious. Like, they've tried Google, sometimes not. But they're just looking for that general consumer opinion. So if you see underneath, somebody is suggesting, SBT Comics, which is our local kind of like model craft store, I would say. And then this person starts to get funny with it. So it's, I guess, an old person or a business that has closed since then. But this is what you're looking for. There's a lot of sarcasm on Reddit. That's why I'm here, but there's a lot of sarcasm here. But generally, you're going to find a lot of posts like this, and you might spend a lot of time reading, and that's okay. You're going to get a lot of very honest feedback. So in here, does Kingston have a shop that sells scale models? Yes, no. People liked the question. And then we've got this person here who provides a very valuable, good answer. And then you've got the upvotes and downvotes, like I mentioned. So the upvotes, downvotes, it's our voting system that determines visibility of posts. So are they rising? Are they top? Are they, or are they just kind of not valuable? And that's something that makes Reddit and subreddits different from Facebook groups. Facebook groups, you pretty much have, top or recent, the way you can kind of organize things. And there's no opportunity to say this isn't valuable. It's just whatever gets the most engagement, positive or negative. So the comments, like we discussed earlier, after any post that is created, users can respond to these comments. So let's just look at another example. What should we do? I'm going to make you watch bird videos. Okay. So there's a product. It's called Bird Buddy. Has anyone heard of this, or am I like the only weird one on the call? I'm okay. So Bird Buddy is basically a bird feeder that has a motion detector that basically starts recording any motion. So you can see all the birds that come to your feeder. They've just launched in Canada, but I've been watching it for years, and I would get no work done if I own this product. So if you're thinking of what to get me for Christmas, don't get me this. So this Reddit thread is called Bird Buddy. It's just about the product. And what we see here is videos or photos of birds. Oh, great. Now Bernadette, she's got it covered for her parents, what to get for Christmas. That's lovely. And then in here, so this person's asking solutions for getting feeders 15 feet high. So let's see what we got in here. These people are trying to help. They're providing suggestions on how to get this person to mount a bird feeder 15 feet in the air, which is lovely. And then say you tried to mount it off the side of your house, you can upvote it if you think it's a good idea, or downvote it. You can also reply to them if you think, no, that's a terrible idea. Okay, Tanya, you can jump in and into this thread and say get a tractor mount or tractor bucket. But that's kind of the beauty of Bird Buddy, of the subreddits. So they've got 12,000 members. Here's your rules. Look at their specific rule is Bird Buddy images only, or burbs. In our world, bird is called a burb. And then down below, you can see the mods, and you can message them at any point. Okay. Karma. So not just something that is, owned by Taylor Swift, but it's a point-based system on how valuable you are to Reddit, which sounds kind of strange. But it shows you how much you contribute in a positive way to the platform. So if you've just joined today, you've got probably very little karma. But as you start to provide comments and feedback, that's when your karma starts to go up. So the community can see that you add value. You're not just creating one comment and then disappearing, or providing poor content or low quality content. Okay, so Melinda's asking, I kind of will talk about that, but I'll answer it now. So Melinda's question is it better to use the name of your business for your profile name? For local government, it would need to be generic, like City of Louisville, and the account tied to a specific email. Okay, so number one, for local government, I would say go in and claim your username so that somebody else can't act on your behalf. So, and you might not even find, Melinda, that you're commenting a lot. So I'm going to find an example for you in a second. I just need to expand my window over here. Just pardon me while I find an example from Melinda. Oh, that was very easy. So this is me. I have revealed who I am online. This is my username. Okay. So in our Kingston thread, somebody started asking about non-religious wedding officiants, and they're planning their wedding. They wanted to know if they could do it. And this person, hold on, I want to see the full discussion because I was fixing someone's. Okay. So this person banned me for being nice, had commented, if you can't find someone, you can always do a city hall wedding to do legalities. Then you can have anyone you like officiate a fake wedding. So what I said, Kingston does, or sorry, I didn't say this. Kingston does not officiate weddings at City Hall. So this is the conversation. And then I jumped in, which is where Melinda could jump in and say, the city started officiating weddings last spring. They're only available on certain days, but it's an option for you. And then this person said, sorry, I didn't realize it changed. So Melinda, you might not be coming on Reddit to make posts, but you might be more reactionary to clarify misinformation. So let's say this is Louisville, Texas in here. You might pop on and say, actually, we still do this, or actually our garbage collection is that. So you're not actively going to post, but you might simply monitor to correct misinformation. And that could be the whole mandate of your Reddit. Does that make sense? And I know this because my husband officiates weddings at City Hall. This is my source. So if you do need a non-religious wedding, my husband can officiate your wedding if you would like. I think there's availability in December. And I see a couple more questions. Okay, and then there's questions about using business names. So Michael's provided his Reddit username. Lovely. And yes, you could keep it similar to your business name if you want. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? We're doing okay for time. We're doing okay. This is really good questions. I've enjoyed this. Might do this one again, this webinar. No? Okay. No, I haven't done ads on Reddit yet. I'll talk about those though. I haven't had clients ask about them either, but I'm sure it's coming because people are stepping away from X. All right, so when you're getting started, you're going to create a profile and verify your email. So we were kind of having that discussion about username. So should it be my business name, a personal name, the local government? It's not necessarily a business building. It's a watching and jumping in when it's relevant. So you're not actively pushing content. You're responding to what's already out there in kind of the Reddit ecosystem. Yeah, very much community-based. Yeah, which is what I also try to push with all the other social media platforms. But this one's like very much top and center. So other things. So once you've kind of started your profile, verified your email, They're going to present you, or Reddit's going to present you with two screens that you can swipe through if you're on your device. The first is called popular. So this is popular subreddits that you've subscribed to. Mildly infuriating is one of my favorite ones. This is actually really funny. And then you've got also latest. So other things that are happening, and I'll show you on here. So you can see in here, just simply popular, I'll say on the internet. So Reddit is sometimes known for like the front page of the internet. So you can see what's happening at a glance kind of all over the world. So we've got US political information, we've got basketball, we've got television. And then what is actually popular. So we can see here how these are different. So 20,000 upvotes, 560 comments. So you can see the volume here is much greater than what we see in a specific like niche subreddit. Okay. So like I was saying a bit earlier, and we've kind of already done this, which is fine, but searching for your local subreddit. So that's the first thing. So you've created your profile and you say like, what do I do? Where do I go? Search for those keywords related to your local community. So for me, it's Kingston, Ontario. And then I'm also from Sarnia. Well, not, I used to live in Sarnia. So I kind of keep up with what's happening there. But you can see here, this is how people use it. It's very much community-based. So recently someone asked just for a vote, like who has the best pizza in town? And then there's comments underneath. And then in Sarnia, someone said, I'm visiting. Where can I go for different craft beer? And that's how you make yourself valuable in Reddit. And then we talked about my bird buddy. So searching for those niche subreddits. And part of this is, it might keep it interesting for you yourself. If you're a business, you might follow subreddits that are relevant to your industry. If you are a local government, you might see if there's subreddits related to maybe politicians or geographic landscapes or businesses that operate in your area, but trying to get that holistic look of what's happening. Isn't he cute? I love these little guys. Christmas is coming. And then, start to get engaged with the different types of content. So I follow Brock University. That's where I went for school. And no word of a lie, this is what my schedule looked like 20 years ago. It still looks like this. So someone posted about this in the subreddit and I responded. Somebody said, I have no idea where these tutorials are. And it's called ST107. They're like, I don't know where it is. And I'm like, that econ tutorial has been in that room for 20 years. Source, I was in that room 20 years ago. Like it's the same. It's on the same day in the same room 20 years ago. And then I later told them where the room was. But that's how you start to contribute to these communities. Read the conversations and contribute. There's a couple questions, so I'm going to pause. Is Reddit connected to Facebook and Instagram, where I post on Facebook business and shared to Instagram? I know the sharing capabilities from Messenger, you can share, no, not Messenger, Instagram stories. You could potentially share something to Reddit, but it's different. What you post on Facebook and Instagram is not what you're going to post on Reddit. They're very, very different. And Michael's saying, I basically go into most garden and Canadian subs linked to my field, which is perfect. That's where you want to be. And then Melissa's asking questions about achieving. If you have a company account and you use third-party company to achieve social media, do you know if Reddit comments are achieved no matter what you post? I'm going to need clarity on that, Melinda. Can you make that less words? And I'll come back to it. Okay, so who moderates Reddit? So I'll go back to a second. I'll go back. Who moderates Reddit? Each subreddit has their own moderators. So this is Kingston. These are the moderators. So you'll see each subreddit that you're in, this list is different and they're completely different. People can moderate only one or they could do a whole bunch. I'll get you to unmute at the end. Okay, Melinda? Okay. So how can a business use Reddit? So we'll go over these three topics in the next 5 minutes and then we'll wrap up. So businesses on Reddit, you can participate in your subreddits, monitor customer sentiment, and you can do paid advertising. So participating in subreddits. So it's joining. So like I mentioned with Melinda in Texas, but it's joining your subreddits and contributing without pushing your business. So it could be correcting misinformation. So for example, this one, so Denver, I follow, we have clients there. What's the best bike shop? And this is the conversation that people are looking for. Very honest opinions about local, their opinion. Okay. And the other side of it, which tends to get undervalued a lot in marketing, it's really funny because my son, he's 7, he was asking me about, we got onto the topic of market research this morning, and we were talking about target audiences. And he's like, why do people make products that people don't buy? And I'm like, that's a great question. They should have done their research. He's like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to buy you a graph book so you can keep track. Okay, honey. He's 7. He's grade 3. But that's something that we forget to do a lot of. So while some of you are sitting there thinking, there's no value, I can't push my business here, you can simply sit back and look, what are people saying about my business and how valuable that is, because they don't even know you're watching. A brand is what people say when you're not in the room. So if somebody can just talk very openly about what you do, your services, your local government, what would they say? And this is where you're going to find it. So two pieces that I found in here. The first one under my mildly infuriating, maybe you're the chip producer here, and this person is simply angry about the chips or the number of chips in their bag. They're not looking for any feedback from the company. They don't want free chips. They're just mildly infuriated. So if you saw that as a business, how could you use that in future product development, in future marketing, in future customer education? Because that's just somebody providing their very open opinion about the bag of chips. The other part of another example is Toronto. So if any of you are Swifties, Miss Taylor Swift is in Toronto for the next couple of days. So now all of these are popping up on the Toronto subreddit, what to do in and around the Rogers Center, which is where she's performing. So how can you contribute to this? What are people saying about this? Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you're exactly right, Michael. It's community-based and your engagement is possibly bringing someone to you and your company. Yeah, you've got it. Okay. And then there is targeted advertising. And I'm not going to get into that today, but I just wanted to let you know, and you've seen the ads even when I'm scrolling through on Reddit, but you can do paid advertising so they can be targeted to specific subreddits. So if you wanted to, Tanya wanted to do an ad in the horses Reddit thread, you could. And they can be location based as well. So that's just this BMO one is just one that popped up. You can see they've got a little graphic, they've got some text. So very similar to what you would see on Meta. And then the Red Lobster one, which we also saw earlier, but in a different format. So you could use this if you wanted. It's another avenue of opportunity to do any sort of paid advertising. And part of it is just knowing what's available to you and potentially what's going to work or maybe what's not going to work so well. So before you would jump into any sort of paid advertising, I'd get to know the platform to think, are these my people? Or is this my target audience that I want to be in front of? Okay. I'll do a quick little review and then I'm going to get Melinda to unmute herself so she can ask her question because I I can't interpret what she's saying. So we talked about kind of that quick introduction to Reddit, navigating the interface, understanding and using subreddits, and then how businesses potentially can start to use Reddit. So I do thank you for coming to today's webinar. I'm right on time, 50 minutes. I'm so happy when I'm right on time. So you're welcome to stay around for any question and answer at the end. But if not, I will be sending out a copy of a recording of this webinar to everyone who was on the call today. We do have upcoming webinars again. So this is my last webinar for 2024, but I do have upcoming webinars in 2025, and my colleague Vish will maybe put that in the chat when she gets a minute. But I'm going to ask Melinda to unmute herself, which you can.
Okay, can you hear me?
Sure can.
Yes, so 2 quick questions. For local government, we have to archive everything we do on social media. Do you know? Yes. So open records, yes, for FOIA. Yes. So do you know, is Reddit considered one of those platforms that might need to be archived? And my second question is there a way to know what target age group is on Reddit and if it's beneficial for certain age groups?
So can I answer your second question first? So I would say, in the sense of local government, I don't necessarily think that an age demographic really affects you, because at the heart of it, local government, all constituents are your audience. Like, anyone who lives in your area is your audience. So for the target audience, I wouldn't necessarily say that it matters so much. In terms of open records, I'm not sure, but I was going to say I can ask my friend who's the records person here, but I don't know if he's familiar. I'm going to put it on him. Okay. So Melinda, I'm going to ask my records person in the clerk's department if he knows how open, they call it MFIPA here, but how it applies cross-border. So leave it with me and I will find it out. Okay. Okay, so Vish put our next webinar is on January 9th, and it looks like it is on Google Business Profile. So you're welcome to attend that one as well. I'll just stick around if there's any other questions that you have. But thank you again for attending. I had a lot of fun today. I love Reddit. Maybe I'll see you on Reddit as well.
All right, I'm going to say more.
You're going to say more. What else you got?
Well, I was just going to go back to the age thing.
Yeah.
So even though we are a local government, we have different, like an art center looking for artists, or we have an art competition open to teenagers to submit art. So that's why I was kind of asking, is there any demographic information on Reddit that would be beneficial for local government or business?
Yeah, I would say they skew like under 44, like under 45 would be how it skews. So a younger, I'm going to say younger. Younger can be better. Yeah. All right. Any last questions? We got 5 people left. They're holding on. They're holding on for the questions. Ron, thanks for coming. All right. If there's no other questions, I will end this. You'll get a copy of the recording hopefully tomorrow. And then maybe I will see you in January. Thanks, everyone.